Hi everyone, and welcome back to my Distress Crayon series. Today is day 2, and today we are going to be using a stencil with them. So I have my Distress watercolor cardstock and the medium dot stencil from Simon Says Stamp, and I am taking the mustard seed Distress crayon from the Brights pack, and I am just filling in a whole bunch of those circles. I'm not going to fill in all of them. It's going to be more towards the top, and then it's going to fade out into just a couple at the bottom. So I'm just coloring that in. I'm adding a little bit of ink because I'm going to be blending them in a little later. So I'm just taking my finger and blending each of those little bubbles in with the color. I didn't use any water or anything because when the Distress crayon is still like wet, when you just add it to the paper, it's very blendable with your finger. So you can see how that color is really smudging and then it's filling in the entire circle. So the Distress crayons have a really cool property. Once they're dry, they are permanent on your cardstock, so you're able to build up the color and add some Distress inks over the top, and the Distress crayons will resist it. So I'm using the Peacock Feathers Distress ink, and I'm taking my blending foam and just adding that color over the top of it. Since this was my first time, I'm using a really light hand, but as you can see, that yellow is still showing through. There will still be a little bit of discoloration, or not discoloration, but the color will change a little bit, but it's definitely different than using Distress inks or Distress paints or anything like that. So the image that I'm going to be adding to this card is from Altenew. I'm going to add 2 flowers. So I'm stamping the larger one on a piece of Coordination's 110-pound cardstock, and again I'm using Tuxedo Black Memento ink. And then I'm also going to be stamping the smaller flower that looks just like that larger one. And I'll stamp it the exact same way. The reason I'm using the Tuxedo Black Memento ink is because I'm going to be coloring them in with my Copics. I'm starting with the Y13, which is a really light yellow, and I'm coloring in all of the petals, so the first layer and the second layer. And I'm coloring outside the lines for this because I'm going to be fussy cutting it out so it won't really show. For a little bit of shading, I'm using the Y15, and you can see how I'm just adding that to the lines more towards the center of the flower, because that is the part that would be naturally darker. And then to take it a step darker, I'm using the Y17 and just adding a little bit of that right into that edge. And after I get that all colored, I'm going to go back in with my Y13 and just blend all of those colors together. Since I want it to match my background, that turquoise and yellow, I'm going to be coloring in the center with turquoise colors. So I'm starting with the BG15 for the little petal looking images in the middle, and then for the very center I'm using the BG18. And I colored the smaller one exactly the same way, and I went ahead and fussy cut them out with my favorite Cutter Bee scissors. So you can see how I cut this apart, and there's a gap missing because I want a blank space to put my sentiment. So I'm taking the top part and adding this onto my white A2 size card base. I'm just lining it up and trying to get it even on both sides. So I'll go ahead and put some adhesive on the bottom part, and now I have to try to line it up as best as I can on the bottom. So there's going to be that white space in the center. To attach my flowers onto the card, I'm going to be using some 3D foam squares from Best Creation. I'm using the largest size, and I'm just going to be adding those to the back. And then I'll place that large flower over the gap, over the white space, towards the very left-hand side of the card. And then I'm going to slightly overlap the smaller flower with the larger flower. I'm going to use the same stamp set for my sentiment, so I chose the one that says Happy Day. There's a few sentiments in this stamp set, and they all are great for several different types of cards. I'll go ahead and ink that up again with my Tuxedo Black Memento ink, and then I'm going to stamp that right in the center of that white gap. So my final step, I'm just going to be adding my Wink of Stella glitter pen. I'm just going to add glitter onto both of those flowers. I'll make them really super sparkly and shiny. And then that is my finished card for today. So I really hope this gave you an idea of how you can use your distress inks with your distress crayons and kind of mix them and layer them together. It would work really well for mixed media if you like to create like canvases or mixed media journaling, anything like that. These would work really well together. Thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure that you're subscribed to my channel if you're not already. We would love to have you. And I will see you all back here tomorrow with another Distress Crayon video. Bye everyone!